Oh my gosh, I must have a filter on. Oh well. We've started, and I am going to try to get Lauren in here from Girls Gone Raw. I'm really excited for today. Well, hello, there she is. Okay, so I'm going to try to accept. Let's see if that works. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello.
Hi.
How
How
Let's see
are
if I
you?
can actually see my. It's funny. Before that live that I did with Dr. Katie, I built this whole wall,
Yeah,
and I was like, you know what? I
it's so cute.
was like, I should put a brand up there somewhere. So, welcome to my official Instagram live backdrop. Apparently,
It's adorable. I like it. It's very aesthetic.
got my Forever Dog life there, of course.
Yes. Love Forever Dog and Forever Dog Life. I haven't made anything out of it yet. Have you tried?
I did the lycopene liquors. It was like a watermelon popsicle.
Okay.
Um, it did not look like the book. The book was all aesthetic, and it was like you could see the definite layers. And I
No.
just happened to have a very pop-in basil plant in the backyard, and I was like, I have a watermelon rotting on my counter. Let's see what we can make out of this. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was during that time when it was like 100 some degrees here. It was so hot, and my poor Rottweiler was like melting.
What?
So
Okay, you're on the East Coast. What
yeah,
part?
Ohio, Central Ohio.
Ohio.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So for some reason, I mean, we haven't had a hot summer like this in a long time. So weather is weird, definitely. And then we had flooding. That's really not normal.
Well, I
It's
think a
weird
lot of
seeing.
not normal stuff has happened this year.
Like maybe the entire year, like the last 10. Yeah,
So
I know. I'm like, if
crazy.
any year has turned me into a conspiracy theorist, it's been the last couple for sure.
Well, speaking of, we're going to talk about feeding our dogs and cats a species appropriate diet today.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that Lauren from Girls Gone Raw Pet Health is joining me today. And you do tell everybody what you do so I don't butcher it.
Yeah, so we make dehydrated, locally farmed, for the most part, pet treats and chews. So it's essentially what you would see as like the body part company, and that's me. Sorry, I'm like trying to figure out my angle here. I really love the relationship that we've made with farmers around us. It's definitely a slow grow. Like my quail farmer, we basically invested in him. I think it's called Renewed Roots LLC. He was an electrician, I believe, wanted to get more into homesteading for his family. And he's like, I'll start raising quail your way, the clean, holistic, happy quail way, if we can come up with an agreement. So we worked together and got him completely set up. And now he's like super invested in growing the operation, which is super cool. So all of our quail are raised specifically for us. Um, and it's really cool. Yes. Some of the relationships I've gotten to make over the last couple of years, but everything is dehydrated. So low temperature for a long time. And I have some props here. We are known to make some of the weird kind of niche stuff. So we have like whole prey quail. And like I said, that's from my really awesome farmer out of Northeast Ohio. He also freeze dries quail chicks for us because I'm a crazy cat lady and I wanted to make sure that I had something that was soft and species appropriate for my very crazy cats. So yeah, we have these little guys, which I'll go into that a little bit later, but
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I have a whole spiel kind of about those because the baby things make people sad. But basically, the whole premise of my company and my philosophy as a person and my background and how I got here, I worked in zoo medicine. I've worked in, biology, anatomy, veterinary science for my whole life. And I've never understood anything more than the fact that food is medicine and enriching the animal is vital.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and that's the basis of everything for this company is enrichment and food as medicine.
Well, and I think those two really go hand in
Mhm.
hand when we talk about our pets, especially. That we realize how enriching it is for our pets to be feeding them species appropriate foods. And I actually just did a live maybe 2 weeks ago with Carol from Mind Pet
Yeah, I
Platter, and
love
I
love those.
I've been using her platters because I had her on the podcast maybe 2 years ago. So I've had the platters for maybe it's a little bit more than 2 years. I'm not sure, but somewhere around there. And just the science behind like how we feed our pets is so fascinating to me. Not coming from like that wildlife or even like
Yeah.
zoo biology background, but understanding that like our dogs and cats really we shouldn't see them that.
Just because they have evolved and just
Yeah,
because they look like house pets, their brains are very instinctual still. And we know that because they like to shred and chase and tug and hunt, cats especially.
yeah,
And like I have board cats with a very small house, but it's like the best we can do in this economy. You know what I mean? And that's, yeah, enrichment. It's not just feed the body, feed the mind too. It's
yeah,
taking care of the whole animal.
yes. So let's first of all jump back first. So I want to just okay. Um, we will definitely try to get to any questions you guys have. So keep posting them. I see that we already have a really good question, but um, I want to jump back quickly because kibble, commercial pet food in general, but like the dry stuff in a bag, the stuff in a can, that's actually what's new for
Yeah.
our pets. If we look at like the history of existence of these animals on the planet, even through domestication for our dogs, I think there's argument that we're still currently domesticating cats, but if we
Yeah.
look at dogs, I think everybody's pretty well settled on the fact that we have domesticated many breeds of dogs.
We've done a lot of work on that species for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So even through the domestication process, dogs still ate a pretty natural diet. It's only since, I mean, pet food in general came about in the late 1800s, but we didn't really see kibble until like 1950s,
Yeah.
um, roughly there in the 1950s. So I mean, we're less than 100 years into what I think we are already seeing as a failed experiment. Um, at least you and I think, can agree
Those
that it's a
cancer
failed.
rates and those cancer rates and those cancer rates and those
Yeah.
cancer rates and the life, the
Yeah.
lifespan. Everyone's like, well, modern medicine,
Yeah.
they should be living longer with modern medicine that we have, honestly. Um,
Well, and I think that's a whole other topic, quite honestly, that
yeah.
we are starting to see humans talk about for us, but the human medical system and the pet medical system really mirror each other,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. And I think even worse in our veterinary medical system because the liability isn't there. Pets are still considered
Yeah.
property. So
They're still kind of
yeah,
disposable.
right.
That's
So,
sad. I'm so sorry. You should get a puppy. That's not the point. I'm like, I'm like, that's
yeah,
just because I can replace it doesn't,
right.
that's not the point
Yeah,
of it. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, but really, if I could get like nothing across to anybody else, kibble is the experiment. Kibble is the new, and it's not working. So if we really look back at like the history of what our dogs and our cats have been eating forever and ever and ever, it is prey that they would catch in the
Yeah.
wild, or for our dogs, especially through the domestication process, what was found in whatever it like if an animal were taken into a home, scraps that they were fed, but if they
Yeah.
were wild, they often would eat from like trash piles and whatever excess that humans threw out,
So,
in addition to hunting and whatever they could find, dead carcasses in the woods, all of that. So one of the things that I like about what you're doing, not just that you are putting out a healthy, species appropriate product, but that you are really like embracing the whole
ick
like
factor. No.
well, I was gonna say like the whole like actual nature of how
Yeah.
what they would find and eat in the wild, like we're bringing that back onto the plate.
That's why I like to use the label specifically species appropriate.
Mm.
Yeah, it's biologically appropriate is what, is used a lot, but yeah,
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but that's, yeah, why a label that I really mean. Um, and especially for cats too. I mean, for some reason, every time I put cat content up, it flops, but people forget our cats are carnivores, obligate. That's what they need. They're also horribly unenriched.
Mhm.
And like I'm not perfect about it. I have 4 cats. I do what I can when I can. They have a catio, they have things like that. But our cats are, you know, massively successful predators locked in a box all the time. And so I try to leash train my animals. I have one that's bored. They have their catio and things like that. But yeah, going back to like the scavenging aspect of it, it's such a frustrating topic, and I've had to cut myself off from trying to argue it. The carnivore versus omnivore. And dogs are really that fine middle line where, yeah, there's absolutely proof that they need and can benefit from non-meat food inclusions. If you see a dog out grazing on grass, eating dirt, things like that, that's them filling their own gaps naturally. That's the scavenger part of them. They are opportunistic carnivores, they're scavenging carnivores, and so their diet should be largely meat, fresh meat, and then adding in whatever they can get, blueberries, greens, dirt, hair, things like that. So
Well,
my
and
favorite thing to tell people, no, go
oh,
ahead.
well, sorry. I just
You're right.
wanted, since you're on the like topic, I think I just posted a podcast episode with Dr. Chris Besant this week, and I think she had one of the best explanations I've heard of why so many people, especially in big pet food, argue that our dogs are omnivores. And she said it's because it is so easy to nutritionally abuse them
Yeah.
because they don't show signs for such a long time that that nutritional abuse in the eyes of, oh, we did a 10-month study, looks like they can be omnivores, right? So like
Yeah.
that's kind of the best explanation I've really heard anybody say of why people have this idea that our dogs are omnivores, but they're not. They're, yeah, as you said, like scavenger carnivores.
Like we do to ourselves as humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
We, as a species, just lightly nutritionally abuse ourselves for our whole lives. And it doesn't show up as huge disease most of the time. It shows up as weight gain, achy joints, headaches, this chronic low, lifetime diseases. And I, like you said, of the pet and health industry, human health industry being mirrors, I have never been so fired up in my life because we are finally talking about it. And I just know that, and nobody make this political. Health is not a partisan issue. Health is something that everybody should be thinking about. And the just what do you call it, the corruption within our health industry is blaring. And I'm so glad that they're finally talking about that, because that directly mirrors into the pet health industry. And I'm a mom, and I'm a pretty low income mom. As a small business, we're not raking it in. I still have to feed my kid and get him music classes and stuff to make sure that he's enriched. It's hard to feed pets on a budget really good clean food. It's hard to feed kids on a budget really good clean food because everything that I look at has BHA, BHT, food coloring. I'm like, even just buying blocks of cheese and then you have to shred it because I want to avoid all the mold inhibitors and things like that. And I'm like, it's why is it so hard just to get clean food for our pets? You have to wade through so much crap just to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
Well,
like, I'm like, I will not put anything in any of my stuff that you don't need, period.
yeah. Well, and that's why I actually think that our job educating pet parents, in my opinion, is going to get a lot more difficult before it gets easier because with the fact that we as a society for human health are really seeing a lot of pushback and people talking about it, and it looks like we might actually get some positive
Yeah.
changes in that aspect if we're not making the same changes in pet food at the same time. I fear that the new regulation, the new push for healthier human food is actually going to wind up making pet food even worse
Mm,
if we're not doing if we're not following the same path
yeah.
at the same time in both industries. Um, so I think our job may be a little harder before it gets better, but I mean, I'm willing to take that on so that because it always does. Like, even
Yeah.
whatever is happening with humans, we are eventually going to see it in pets. So I'm not mad about it. I just think, like,
It's
we're going to have to still
yeah. Yeah, that's a
yell.
good point. That's a good point. I think that also I try to I'm so far into my little bubble of amazing pet health that sometimes I get outside of that and I'm like, how do you guys not see this? You know what I mean? Like it's hard and I have to kind of humble myself and realize that sometimes we have to go way outside the bubble, start from the bottom and welcome that up. And I actually it's easy in social media within my bubble to start getting kind of edgy. I mean, people like kind of controversial stuff, and I made a couple reels back in the day that everyone's like, "Wow, we loved your Instagram," um, and I was kind of getting some pushback that it was low key kibble shamey, and I'm like, that's not the point. But it's
Yeah.
easy to put content out there that your followers want to see. What I want to do is create content that's going to encourage people. And when somebody that's been feeding, Purina Pro Plan their whole life comes to me and they just see like, screw Purina, blah, 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 they're going to run for it. But if we put out educational and encouraging content telling people like, hey, if you're adding steamed broccoli to your dog's kibble, you're doing great. If you're adding water, that's the first step. Let's talk about some other easy ways. You don't have to spend $1 million because, yeah, like I said, it's really hard on my budget to feed what I want to do. I'm really lucky that I'm surrounded by fresh meat constantly. So right now I do the Dr. Harvey's. They get that for their nutrient balance. And then I'm able to give them chunks of really awesome fresh meat, whole birds, chunks of rabbit, things like that. Um, but I don't even, I went so far down that rabbit
No,
hole.
that's
But
okay.
yeah, I mean,
I
we are in
actually,
this amazing bubble of people that care and love their pets so much and are constantly trying to do better, even with it if it's with clean treats and things like that. So I don't always get that side of customers because I am the, whole dead bird lady. But that's why I keep like my chicken jerky. If you are substituting a milk bone for a chicken jerky, you're doing you're doing great.
you are,
And I really like that the Forever Dog book talks about that. Even if you're substituting your processed treats for a simple whole food treat, you're doing great.
yeah. Yeah, but it is kind of funny that you bring that up though, because I definitely see the same trend. Like, if I post something really controversial that people are either
Picks up.
get like literally posting death threats on my page, or
Yeah.
then it's
You're
like,
like,
okay,
thanks for the engagement. Like,
right. And then the more like, we're all gonna be okay, just do a little bit at a time, like that just kind of falls flat. And it's like, how,
Mhm.
like, finding that balance of, I need to be able to reach people, but also like, I want
Yeah.
exactly what you were saying, like, be able
I
to
want like
talk.
the Mr. Rogers of pet food content. Like, hey, neighbor, you're doing great. Your dog's cute. Have a good day. Go
Right.
add some meat in there.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Yeah, that's what I would like to be. That's what I strive to be. But it's hard because, as a small creator, as a small brand, it's the edgy stuff that brings people in. I mean, yeah, I posted one that I was kind of like, I don't know, I was just talking about like, the big pet food companies or like kind of a sassy one and like, yeah, I got like hundreds of likes. And that's going to help my business grow. So you have to make sacrifices like that sometimes. And that's why social media is kind of toxic.
Yeah.
I would call it my necessary evil.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for our dogs, for our cats, feeding them, I mean, obviously, I know the answer to this, but just for the sake of this conversation, what does it mean to feed a species appropriate diet?
In my opinion, as a non-medical professional, but very heavily educated on all sides of that, it's a moderately balanced over time, meat heavy diet with some fresh produce and herbs and medicinal herbs and things like that. And it really doesn't have to be that hard. I will never, ever, ever tell somebody to go out and feed, chicken thighs every day. Or somebody the other day was like, I can just feed my dog like raw hamburger, right? I'm like, raw hamburger
And what? Yeah.
and and so that's why I like things like the Dr. Harvey's, because it's just dried whole food mix, at least the raw vibrance. The Paradigm has some vitamins and minerals as well, but it's just that, and then you add in whatever fresh foods you can get on whatever budget you have. If it's grass-fed bison, heck yeah, go for it. If it's hunted deer, heck yeah. But to me, a good diet for our pets looks like lots of fresh meats and adding in that, what is it, 20%?
But yeah,
Can't remember if it's
I think it
80,
certainly
10,
can,
10,
yeah,
10%.
well, certainly can vary individually. I really like to look at like animals as individuals, and the more you listen to somebody like Dr. Billinghurst, right? He will, first of all, he'll gross you out with how much he talks about how much dogs eat poop. It's just constant, right?
Yeah.
That's like his favorite thing to talk about, I think. And then maybe second is raw meaty bones. So I think it also depends on like how much bone content your
Yeah.
particular animal, especially your dog, um, really thrives on, because we can get into like these, and that's one of the things that I don't like about the 80-10-10 is that people take it
Yeah.
like gospel, and it's like,
Now,
no, please.
I use it as like a basic proportional guideline.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the name of my company is actually Girls Gone Raw, is the story of my dogs and my cat. We're all kind of low key sick, yeast infections, chronic UTIs, whatever, cancer. Both of my dogs had cancer at the time. And I had just left working for Champion Pet Foods, which, if you don't know, is Origin in Canada. So I left the world of Kibble is God. And I was mortified about the industry, first of all. And we started doing DIY raw. Oh, and if I tell you, I went in head first. Okay, we went in head first. I was buying like tongue meat, heart, kidney, liver, pancreas, yada yada yada, which was great. But I became like obsessed with it, and I had my little thing, my calculating like how much bone content is in this bone and this bone, and it's so overwhelming. Um, and I feel like people expect me to, in my position and being kind of a voice in this industry and living in this industry, they expect me to be more exact about it. I don't think I've measured my dog's food in years. I mean, it changes all the time. What's their exercise level? They start to look skinny, we bulk up a little bit, start adding eggs. They start to look a little fat, we cut back a little bit. And it varies all the time. I switch it up all the time, different brands, different supplements daily, things like that. That's a little controversial, I feel like, almost, but I'm like,
It is. I find the same thing. I actually feed my pets commercial raw,
mhm.
just because that's where I'm at
I
in my life. I don't.
love
Yeah.
Steve's. I'm religious about Steve's for years, and it's easy.
Hmm.
I'm a busy human
Yeah.
being, yeah.
Exactly. I've got other things to do, and I also have really picky animals. Even my dog, really picky.
Hmm.
So if I can get a commercial food that is ground, like the bone is ground really fine, and she's not picking it out, because she will pick it out if it's too big. And if I try to add veggies on top, that's not happening. It's got to be mixed in.
That's
So like it's just too much.
frustrating.
So
My
but
cats are
yeah,
picky like that.
yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And so I find that too. A lot of people come to me, and yeah, I do all day long AFCO balanced recipes, but I talk to every single person, and I try, and I'm like, we don't have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the end all be all. Like, if this is what makes you comfortable, we can do this, but we don't have to do it this
It's
way.
balance over time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk more about like exactly what it is you do, but before we do that, there were a couple of questions that I wanted
Yeah, sorry.
to just.
I go off in rabbit holes very
No, no,
quickly, and then
no,
I
you're
bring
good.
myself back and I'm like, how did I
I
get
love
here? ADHD or something like that.
Okay. Does feeding too much protein have any risks? Thinking about blood tests and urine if it can show any abnormalities by feeding high protein. I've got thoughts. Do you?
Yeah, it's really hard to feed too much protein, especially raw meat. You see really high protein in kibble because it's sucked down, all the moisture and everything is taken out of it. It's basically isolated protein, especially if you're getting chickpea or plant-based proteins. In a fresh meaty diet, it's almost impossible to get too much protein. You'd be massively overfeeding your dog. And you
Yeah.
would notice that before you notice high protein in the,
Yeah.
values.
Well, and so a couple of things I notice is that our lab value averages in veterinary medicine are based on kibble fed dogs. So there are some values that a raw fed dog might be, not always, and
Yeah.
actually usually not, but can be a little bit out of range because those
Usually
values.
bun, right? Blood urea nitrogen. Yeah.
Mhm.
Blood urea nitrogen.
So
Yeah.
that's always something to that's why one of the reasons why you shouldn't hold back. Like, have respectful conversations with your veterinarian, but don't lie to
Yeah.
them. Because if you can have those respectful conversations and let them know that yes, your dog does eat a fully balanced raw food diet, however you want to say it, raw food diet, they can look at those numbers and say, oh, okay, well, I know this is just a little bit off because you feed a raw food diet. Hopefully, that's how they see it. That's how they should see it. But like, you can know that going in. And there are, if you do DIY raw feeding, you can do things like HTMA testing to make sure that all the minerals and everything are in balance, and that you don't need to make any. They're informational to let you know where you might need to make some adjustments if you're doing
Mhm.
DIY.
Yeah.
Um,
If
but yeah, I don't.
you're doing DIY, yes, definitely follow. I didn't want to imply with what I was saying, like just feed everything all the time,
Yeah,
don't worry about it. I also, have lived this life for a long time. And if you've been doing it, you know generally what proportions are safe. And I do follow general guidelines.
yeah,
So just to amend that, I don't want, I don't want people to cancel the
yeah.
recipe.
No, I mean, I assume somebody
Yeah.
like you is doing that. I get it. But also, one of the other things I think about when people ask about protein specifically is like urinary kidney health. And one of the last things we ever want to do for a dog or a cat, even a dog or a cat that does have, is in some form of like
Kidney
kidney
disease.
disease,
Yeah.
we don't want to, like, that is the first thing a traditional veterinarian is going to want to do.
Cut
um,
protein.
Cut protein. The
Wild to
problem
me.
with that, yeah, the problem with that is when we cut protein in a carnivore, in whether it's a scavenger carnivore or an obligate carnivore, they have to get those essential amino acids from somewhere. So they are going to start pulling it from their own muscle mass. So you're going to start seeing muscle wasting, and your
Yeah.
pet may actually suffer the effects of muscle wasting long before they would have ever suffered the effects of kidney disease, just because you have decreased the protein. So there are
Yeah.
other things we can do to decrease, like phosphorus binders, because that's ultimately what the goal is to decrease the phosphorus. So we can do that in various ways.
There's certain foods, I can't think of any off the top of my head. I always send people toward Dr. Judy Morgan's kidney diet. Um, I had a dog with kidney disease and she lived with it for a long time, and we pretty much didn't change too much. We went full raw. And my first tip to people, I'm like, talk to your doctor. Maybe find a doctor that's more holistic, because your Western doctors are going to give you those band-aid fix. They're going to put you on a specialized prescription diet, which I have big feelings about. But it's not. Yeah, it's just a band-aid fix.
It is
Um,
a
get
for
those chickpea proteins, the plant proteins out of those,
sure.
because that was really hard on their kidneys. Yeah.
It is. Well, and like you were just saying, you made the switch completely to raw. And a lot of times, especially if it's like a stage one, maybe stage two, just switching from eating a dry food diet all the time to eating a high moisture diet all the time is going to make a huge difference in any of
Yeah.
those like urinary issues.
As soon as the word kidney or urinary gets into anything. Like I have a cat that has fluted. She basically stress or just when she's having a bad day, she's blind, so everything kind of stresses her out. Blindish. And she'll start peeing blood. And it's just kind of like something like I tried the prescription food at first because I felt horrible for her. It was like a move plus COVID plus a baby stacked on top of each other that spurred it all. And now it just comes up every now and then. If the water bowl's dry for a day, she's yeah. So the only thing that's helped me completely manage that and stop it from progressing is, well, I wouldn't say the only, because I use a lot of the Crazy Cat Ladies supplements proactively for her. I use their urinary pH and their, gosh, what's the one with enzymes?
The catalyst.
I think Catalyst, yeah, but is going to 100% raw diet for her. Even when I was trying to budget myself, and we do at the worst a soaked like farmina with freeze dried, and we make it into like, you know, complete mushy soup basically. Um, and completely cut all that, went entirely to the Steve's Quest, and I love that. She's very, I can like really see it coming. Sometimes it's usually severe things that set it off, and then I just start putting in CBD, urinary pH, and she's back to normal in like a day.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, moisture, and cut those harder to process proteins, which you're gonna get in almost any kibble, grain
Oh
free,
yeah.
grain inclusive. It's all kibble.
Okay, Lauren, any plans to on getting your product in stores in Florida, specifically Orlando?
I have a couple stores in Florida. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but what I always tell people is if you want my stuff, a lot of times if you tell your local stores that there's demand for it, they can reach out to me and look at my stuff and start stocking it. So if you reach out to me, I can send you like my wholesale information, or you can have them just reach out to me and we can get them set up. They can at least look around. And then, like I said, a lot of times if independent stores know that there's demand, they might just not have heard of me. Or send me your local store and I'll reach out to them, one of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I do a ton of wholesale and there's a million of them. So a lot of times we just haven't heard of each other. But
Yeah, for sure. Diane says I let my cat have some cooked chicken skin today. I hope that was okay. I don't love cooked fats, but I mean every once in a while, I don't, as long as they don't have any
it's not big deal.
pre-existing, yeah, no
My
big
cats eat
deal.
a lot of butter. Not usually intentionally. Usually they rip it out of the cabinet.
Really?
But yeah, God, they're monsters. I wish I had Darwin in here. He's like, oh, if you see me cringing while I'm talking about my cats, I'm thinking about him. I love him so much. But he was my boyfriend's family's outdoor cat. My boyfriend had found him as like a, I don't know, like a half dead kitten hit by a car sitting under a rain gutter, just like, meow. And then they took him, and he's an indoor outdoor cat, which, you know, it's a pretty safe area. They have a farm. And he disappeared last year for like 2 weeks or something like that around Thanksgiving. And I was like, it's coyote season, Camden. Like, I think you need to. He's like, oh, he'll come back. He'll come back. And I was like, nah. I was being negative about it. We live in a very pretty rural area. So anyway, long story short, somebody found him like 4 cities over with a broken leg under a car, and then brought him over to the other side of the state where she lived, and whatever. We got him treated, and he was this like perfect little angel, snuggly, like so sweet. I was like, "Whoa, we're keeping this cat." Like he's not going back outside. He's been hit by a car like at least 2 times.
Oh
You
my
know, he's running down his lives, and he's a menace. Oh,
goodness.
I mean, he can open cabinets. He today broke two of my cups, just knocked them off the counter because he was bored. I mean, he'll do backflips off you in the middle of the night. He steals everything that even once smelled like food. He broke into a thing of like Nesquik powder I left on the counter, made my son hot chocolate. I don't know. Just he drags it under the bed too. So I found like a whole hoard one time, like a dragon den of just food trash. Any kind of basting brush, he loves those. He always eats the bristles. But yeah, he'll break into the cabinets and eat an entire stick of like Kerrygold butter. And I'm like, God, that's like $6 a stick, you menace. I'm gonna have to get him in here. He's so funny. He's just like this, looks like a Russian blue, but is probably just a mutt, you know.
Yeah.
But he's so nice. I'm like, his mom's always like, I can take him back. I'll keep him inside. I'm like, I can't.
He
God, I just love him too much.
just he's too amazing. Yeah.
Too amazing, but he's absolutely the bane of my existence.
Does muscle wasting stop?
You have to put work in.
Yeah,
Depends.
theoretically, yeah. If you can get the animal to eat appro- appropriately, like the right
Yeah.
balance of
I would say that's definitely a case by case basis.
organs. Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how
What the
bad off,
cause is.
yeah, how bad off it is and how long it's been going on. And yeah, I think that's a tough one.
You have to, it's definitely something because I have senior dogs galore. And I had one that came to me. She's actually on my feet right now. Sunshine. Um, she came to me very, like her hips were like tiny, completely muscle wasted, couldn't get herself over just a little like hop up into the door when I got her, and was just sick, mange, everything like that. I think she'd been eating trash pretty much, is how she wasn't like emaciated, because now she eats like any trash. Um, and it took a while, but yeah, I went full raw with her pretty much right away. And it took a while, but then her muscles, yeah, came back. And so it depends on what the cause is. Is it something more, what's the term, idiopathic? Is it a
Yeah,
neurological thing?
yeah.
Or is it a nutritional deficiency, which I would almost call like protein leaching, from like an inappropriate diet? I'd call that more like a nutritional
Yeah.
issue. And it's like taurine too. You can supplement proactively and
Mhm.
reverse some of the damage done by, enlarged heart.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah, because I also think even if it is nutritional, and you try to reverse it nutritionally, you also have uh, that hurdle of your the muscle isn't necessarily going to rebuild unless there's a reason to. So if they're already so bad off that their like energy level is really low, if
Yeah.
they're not getting any exercise, if it's going to be difficult to get
Like,
exercise,
is
you're going to need
Myos the one I'm thinking of? A lot of people, Myos is a supplement.
I've
And I'm
heard
gonna
of
look it up. So Myos. A lot of my dog sport people use that for muscle
that.
building. And I believe that it was actually recommended to me for um, senior dogs because we had a little bit of muscle wasting. She was like 17. And my vet recommended, we could do Myos, and for Sunshine as well, Myos.
Yeah, I have heard of that. They
Yep,
have.
muscle formula supplement. I think it's a really cool supplement because a lot of people in our industry love it.
Yeah, yeah, greenlit mussels. Conjure. Yeah, yeah. I have heard of this. I have never used it. I mean, I haven't really had a reason to use it, but I have heard of it, and I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a dog with muscle wasting, look into that. Talk to you if you have a holistic vet. Talk to him about it. And I like to tell people too, it's really hard to find good holistic vets in most areas. Honestly, I lucked out. I moved to Columbus and immediately was like, thank God. I moved closer to my holistic vet that I've been driving hours for. And having a good integrative vet on your team is game changer, especially as your pet comes into senior age, because it's really easy to do what they do to our seniors and just pump them full of drugs to band-aid patch issues. And it's really rough on their bodies. There needs to be a point where we say we're going to do this just holistically, and then focus on health span rather than lifespan.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have two 12-year-old dogs. My last one passed from cancer at, I think she was 14, but she had cancer since she was 7, did everything holistically. And then our one before that, who was the other girl in Girls Gone Raw, diagnosed with cancer, I think around 6 or 7, and then passed away at 17.
Well, they had.
So we like our old girls around here.
Yeah.
Labs too, which it was pretty impressive. It's hard to be mad about that.
Yeah, you got a lot of good life out of them with changes you made. Lola Blue the Dane says the butter is popular with their cats too.
Yeah, and even Dr. Katie, when I was talking to her, was like, give them butter. Do
Yeah.
it. Butter, ghee, coconut oil,
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah,
That's another
especially
thing
if
I think that's changing with the industries. We're getting into the people that are talking about butter being good, cholesterol being okay, raw milk, we're getting back into that,
Mhm.
which is super
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. So I think, generally speaking, we have two different buckets. We have people who are looking to do the best they can for their pets, from the start, from, there's nothing going on, everything's great, they just learn more and want to do better. And then we have the other bucket where it's like people are frantic because they're like, I need to know everything right now because my dog or my cat is
Yeah,
sick, right?
yeah.
And
I've been in both of those
yeah,
buckets.
yeah,
It's
yeah, same.
And the
So
latter is hard. It is
it's really
frantic.
hard, really, really hard to kind of wind yourself down and realize that you are not going to learn everything all at once, and to try to pinpoint where to start. Uh, and for me, the some of the most frustrating things are when, because we have been conditioned for decades, so we have this mindset of what can I give my dog for X, right? So even though they're like, I want to do everything holistically now, they still have the mindset of what holistic supplement can I give for
Yeah.
this instead. And it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't work that way. We always have to start with food, and treats or chews are a really, really good, like, gateway drug.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to call them,
Yeah.
a gateway
Yeah.
drug. Oh, I said this the other day, and so now it's my thing. It's my term. I'm going to forever say this now. Our pets,
Trademark.
yeah, our pets are pet food injured.
Oh my God.
They are pet food injured. Even a dog or a cat that is like born today and raised from the get-go
Yeah.
holistically, they still have the genetics of the past few
The
generations
epigenetics. Yeah.
to overcome. So our pets, in my opinion, are pet food injured, and we have a lot to overcome with that. And it is always a good idea to start with the food. So with that, I would love for you to tell me like some of the offerings that you have. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about like some of the things you were doing for cats that were different
Yeah.
and softer. And so tell me about your products.
So I always tell people too, one of my favorite things, I meant to say this earlier, is it is a fact that modern pet food, the nutritional balance of it was based off of the nutritional balance of a prey animal. The fiber, the fat, the protein, the blah, 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 everything pretty much except for moisture, which we already know is an issue in pet food, but it is what it is. So feeding whole prey is pretty much the most perfect package you can get. And like I said, balance over time. No pet food also is perfect. I always tell people, like, don't pick a food and only feed that ever. No food ever will cover all of the gaps. Your dog could process that vitamin C differently than it processes the vitamin C in a different food, things like that. So we do a lot of whole prey. And I like to do kind of different levels of it because not everyone's willing to buy a dead bird for their dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have, I'd say, like the whole prey quail is one of the most extreme. We have the whole freeze dried chicks, like I already showed you guys. Really popular one is whole rabbit heads. So this has the brain, the eyes, and all sorts of really cool secreting organs. Again, not everyone's cup of tea. Um, Really cool things about it though, because there's a lot in the brain and the thyroid and the pineal gland and all of that that our dogs don't get naturally that they completely can benefit from. I mean, look at what's the company I always see now, like Primal Queen.
Oh yeah.
They're really pushing organ meats on people now, and people are like, "Oh, hold on, that just changed my whole hormonal balance in life." Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
I've
lot of
been,
pieces that we're missing.
I tried, I actually tried Primal Queen once, but I, have been taking desiccated bovine, like female reproductive organs, for a couple of
Hmm.
years, and it's made a big difference.
Yeah. And standard process supplements are amazing like that. If you read the ingredients, sometimes I'm like, what? It says placenta.
Mm-hmm.
It has like all of these crazy things, but to me, there's so many amazing vitamins and minerals and just we're going to call them like, you know, co-nutrients and
Mhm.
things that if you have this and this at the same time, it does amazing things. But if you only have this or if you only have that, they just kind of fall flat. So when you feed the body as it was meant to be, you gain a lot from that. And that really is, I think, like feeding the organ meat and all of that is medicine. You know, coming from me, I don't think I've eaten an organ meat in my life. I need to,
Yeah.
but I was raised a picky kid. I'm recovering. Acceptance is the first step or something. So, so like I said, I have levels. I have like the body parts, and this obviously to me, I love that. Feed lots of moisture to it. Um, and then I have like my quartered rabbit frame. I love this. For me, this is the easiest way. I literally took a whole meaty rabbit, and I have a video actually on my Instagram that I did. It was very edgy for me because I was like, nobody wants to see these. It's what I do is honestly disgusting. My, you know, my shoes are all stained with rabbit blood. And I was over at what Super Zoo, and you all were like, show us the process videos. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I'll do it. So I went home and I filmed that, and people loved it. I didn't get one angry comment. I was really proud. But we take a whole rabbit frame and then we separate it into 4 pieces. We have the pelvis, the waist with the kidneys, and then 2 rib sections. And then they have like the lungs, a chunk of liver on both sides, and then the heart. And add that even just onto some kibble. I use that and then I'll feed something like a greens mix with it. And there's so much nutrition in that, and having all of those natural fats and things like that. I will never tell you, side note, that anything of mine is better than feeding the raw version of it. And I stand by that. Raw
Yeah.
liver is not even comparable to
Yeah.
dried liver. Raw eggs are not comparable to dried eggs, but this is the best that a lot of people can do, and it's easier to get. It's more accessible.
Mhm.
Um, I don't always want to have a thing of raw liver in my fridge. It's stinky. It's a really gross
It does
texture.
stink.
Um,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that
oh
thinks
no,
that.
like it oxidizes really fast.
Mhm.
I think it's the iron in it. We used to make this big vats of raw chicken grind, and we do a lot of chicken liver in it. And then, I mean, within 20 minutes, it's green and smells like farts. And that's like the oxid, like
Yeah.
it's not my favorite. But then I also have my Franken bunnies. Oh, we're backwards here. Can I? But this is Franken bunny, and then I also have the Franken duck. And there's something known as the Franken diet, which is kind of a part of prey model feeding, which would be like, you know, feeding the whole animal, and that's feeding like pieces and parts. So this has a head, 2 legs, 2 feet, a tail, and a whole prey rabbit sausage. And I'll pull one of the sausages out. I have it right here. These are the whole prey rabbit sausage. And these are my absolute most popular product right now, I think, aside from the like heads and rolls. This is an entire rabbit ground into a fine sausage. We have some batches kind of making their way in that have the hide ground in as well, and we're kind of playing with that formula, but this is essentially an entire rabbit with that heart, liver, kidney, heart, liver, lungs, kidneys. What am I forgetting? That might be it.
Well,
But
it's everything but the head, right?
is everything but the heads, feet, and
Oh,
intestines.
okay.
So
Okay.
we do remove the intestines for just like sanitary reasons, but it keeps a lot of those vital organs. So that's the whole rabbit meat. Like if you were to buy straight from a farmer, and we just stick it in the grinder. So this is a really awesome product. Pets really gravitate towards it. You can tell because it has a lot of that organ meat, and it's a really rich. But then it's a really good way to get some of that bone content into animals that don't like to chew. Like I think you said your dog will pick out chunks of bone.
Mhm.
A lot of dogs won't chew. My cats won't chew bones except for one of them that likes the quail. And you can kind of see it's a really cool texture. It's really crunchy. And you could even kind of smash it like you're smashing like Oreo cookies, whatever, and rehydrate on top of food. I use this when we're traveling to kind of supplement foods and things like that. So these are kind of the levels of whole prey. And I will say I am actively working on a whole prey with feathers quail grind, and I want to add hopefully some functional foods into that as well. I'm talking to a mushroom supplier around us, and some cool things like that. But I have to get through the holiday season first.
Right.
The holiday season always smacks me, and then I get to January, I'm like, yay! And that's when wholesale for some reason picks back up, and I'm like, okay. So, and now we have
So,
Elf on the Shelf. I'm expected to do Elf on the Shelf, and I'm like, honey, mommy needs to.
aw,
Yeah,
don't
I'm
do
just kidding. I love
that.
him.
You're inviting Faye into your home. That's not a good thing.
I feel weird about him. I'm like, why is he
Yeah.
rummaging around in the night?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything Remy says, how can we get you stocked in our stores? She must have recently joined, but
Yeah. Shoot me a message and I can send you either a link through Instagram that'll go towards it. Or if you just go to girlsgonerawpet.com, there's a wholesale tab. Fill out the form on the top, and I'm sending out wholesale emails actually today. You just shop online with it like normal. I just have to get you a password and the information.
awesome. Yeah, I think our cats especially, I find that there's one company in particular of food that I feed that my dog loves it, but I actually find that my cats like it even more because it does have a much higher organ content than most
Yeah.
commercial raw foods.
More of like a prey model. Yeah.
Well, it's even more than that. Like it's a lot of heart, like a lot of heart, and liver and kidney is significantly more than 5%.
And heart's
And
one of
you know,
those where a lot of people think of it as an organ meat. Sorry to cut you off.
we,
Think of it as an organ meat, but it's a
yeah,
muscle. But it's
yeah,
just one of those amazing
yeah,
muscles.
it is because it has like the nutrition of organ, but is technically a muscle, but it has way more than 5% kidney, way more than
Hmm.
5% liver. And, I think that's scary for a lot of people that are already feeding a raw food diet. They're like, oh, no, 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 it has to be 5%. But my cats, especially, are just like, they freaking love it. They're
Nice.
thriving on it. And, I mean, granted, for me, it's anecdotal, but there are lots of people. This is fairly popular in our world. And,
You'll
like,
have to tell me what it is. I'd love to try it. Because my
yeah,
cats are like picky, but not picky. It's more texture. And I got to the point where when I was living with my parents, we had like 8 cats between us, and all of them liked the Steve's Quest, which is their prey model formula. And I was like, we're sticking with
yeah,
it. Like, that's it.
yeah.
Nowhere to
Yeah,
go.
I mean, my cats like Steve's, they like small batch, but the green juju, they are just,
Oh, yeah, that's
they
what I was
love.
gonna say, green juju. I was wondering if that's what it was.
Yeah, they love.
Um,
So it's something that I really play with a lot. Even when I balance for like individual recipes for like individual dogs, I will, if they're healthy, I will test out more than 5% liver because I'm like, here you go. Let's see how we do
yeah,
it.
and it's something you can play with.
Yeah,
And it's like it
yeah,
doesn't have to be, yeah, it can be something you kind of figure out. Like I said, you have every single animal is different.
mm-hmm.
You can't feed one the same and expect it to be the same. Like Scarlett, if you probably counted the calories, our Rottweiler, if you counted the calories of what I got her, it would be so far from what the AFCO, I guess, requirements and stuff are, but she's thriving. She lost like 40 pounds when I came into her life as like a 11, I think she just turned 12-year-old Rottweiler. And she's like a puppy sprinting around. Her arthritis episodes completely dropped off. And um, yeah, Sunshine was super sick when I got her. And their diets are, if I fed them what it was recommended to give their age and weight and everything, they would be balloons.
Yeah.
Same with my lab.
Oh,
My lab was a 45-pound, like, lean machine. She got like a half of a Steve's patty as a meal and
wow.
was, yeah, an absolute meal machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, she's so skinny.
No.
Not every Rottweiler is supposed to look like a cinder block.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of we've kind of made a lot of things normal for our pets that really shouldn't be,
Yeah.
and then stigmatized things that should be normal, like the treats that you made.
Yeah. I've branded myself a professional dog body shamer.
Ah,
Um, and it's not, I'm not sure I'd say it's my best trait, but honestly, like people need to hear it. Because I'm just like, you are completely in control of that.
yeah.
Um, I've gotten nicer about it. I've figured out better ways to word it.
Yeah. Well,
Over
and
it.
it really is one of the best things we can do for the health and lifespans of our pets is to bring them back to a normal weight.
It's
And
the
so many of us
easiest thing.
don't know what that even looks like,
Yeah.
because we as humans barely know what it looks like for us anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said they'd like to see my pets. I'm trying to get Sunshine up, but she is. Got old ladies. They're snoring behind me. Scarlett.
I can't. My cats are. They won't. But I'll show you my doggy. You say hi. There's Kimberly.
The sweater queen herself. Hi, Kimberly. I love those ears.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She's just.
This is Sunshine. We're dealing with some allergies right now, and she's struggling a little bit.
Oh, oh no.
How about
Environmental
you?
or.
Uh, I think it was brought on by fleas. We
Oh.
definitely found a couple. I think they're just like living in our yard for some reason, so we've gone nuts on that. Um, and I've always done all of the same holistic flea stuff my whole life, and it's just not cutting it here since I moved to this house. And it just sent her down a spiral. So now she
Hmm.
stinks. But we're doing a lot of different stuff to try, and it's definitely like I understand now after her. Um, why people get pushed to Apoquil, because I'm like, there was one point where she was like covered in hives
Mhm.
after God knows what, and as soon as I think it gets better, then it gets
Mhm.
worse, and then chewing holes in herself, and I'm like, I'm doing everything right, I'm doing everything I do, you know what I mean? It's frustrating. But when I got her, she had like no hair, she was greasy, stinky, teeth rotting out of her mouth, like little, and I was like, oh, I need that one.
Yeah.
I foster
Yeah.
failed her. She was my 25th foster dog, 26th maybe. She's trying to steal the treats off me. And yeah, I foster failed her. She's the absolute light of my life.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
adorable.
she goes everywhere with me. And then Scarlett's snoring down here. Scarlett. Um, yeah, and I have 4 cats. Would not, I don't know that I'd recommend having 4 cats. Scarlett, good morning. Sorry, got a little off topic here.
That's okay.
But
Yeah, so I think, whole prey is amazing. I very much appreciate that you said that, raw would be even better because we got the moisture, right?
mhm,
Which is in itself like a co-nutrient,
yeah,
to the food. And but doing the dehydrated is also like an incredible addition. It can also
yeah.
make things easier for travel, which you
Mhm.
mentioned, and training
Yeah.
for sure. If um, you want to use it that way, and just adding enrichment
Yeah.
to your dog's bowl. Meal replacements, I think you also mentioned that too. Um,
Mhm.
so, we often talk about doing like raw meaty bones for meal replacements, but doing whole prey is also a great way to do meal replacements. And
Yeah. Because that fills more gaps too.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, for sourcing reasons, it's the availability of having air dried or freeze dried
Mhm.
meaty bones and whole treats like that is amazing. Because like I'm lucky to live in an area that has a lot of cool farmers. I could go out and buy a beef liver and a rabbit tomorrow if I wanted to, but I've tried the actual whole prey feeding before, and ironically I didn't have the stomach for it. My dog also was like, what do I do with it?
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
love the idea of that, but we need to be
Mhm.
realistic. Um, and yeah, and like you said right in the beginning, it's like a gateway drug. I always tell people that. I'm like, they're like, why do you do like chicken jerky? Like you have so many more exciting things. I'm like, is it's a mind opener. They
Mm-hmm.
come in, they see chicken jerky. Oh, my dog loves chicken jerky. Oh, like were you feeding before? We talk about the recall, the, possibly China sourced chicken that had the, oh, I can't, mela,
Oh,
melamine.
melamine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let me talk about that. And then, we're able to, then it gets into food and, oh, they have chronic yeast. Like, oh, I have some kefir back here. Have you ever thought about addressing the gut? And then blah, 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 blah. Um, and then, maybe next time they try a chicken foot. And then next time after that, they try a duck head. And then after that, they're like, my dog loved it. We're going to go for a rabbit roll. You know what I mean? And it is kind of like, I tend to grade my farmers market booths from like PG 13 and rated R. So I have like my jerkies and the bone broth and egg powder. And in the middle is like rabbit sticks and the quartered rabbit franken bunnies, and then on the end is like the hairy cow ears that are
Mm-hmm.
like the size of my head. And I was just talking to Kiwi's Distinguished Goods yesterday. She's like, oh my god, your beef ears are huge. I'm like, yeah, they're huge.
Like, have you seen a cow?
I'm like, I said, we got those thick Ohio grown cows. Apparently the difference is ours, I sold out of them right now, but the difference on ours, we have this base that's like this thick around, and it's definitely
I
just happened.
don't know. I think it
I just
did it too.
Oh,
Oh, there, look. There we go.
oh, that's funny. Ooh, technology. But yeah, like I like to grade it, and then people come in, they're like, and I'm like, go that way,
Yeah,
blinders, like,
yeah.
because it does scare some people. But every now and then I'll bring the whole quail or the chicks to a market, and it's fun seeing people. They're like, that's disgusting. I'll take 5 of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, my guy, like,
Right, I
um.
know.
And it's
Yeah,
funny. I love having those conversations. That really is what drives me, because in the economy, it's hard for moms to have a career that also fulfills them. And that's not a blanket statement. That's just kind of a general statement. A lot of times they're pushed into whatever role works with uh, school schedules, and then kids get sick sometimes or bite a kid at school and need to be picked up, or, you know, every now and then I want the flexibility to take my son to the zoo for an entire day in the middle of the week.
yeah.
And I don't have to ask for permission to do that. So um, I'm super lucky that I have that family flexibility, and I get to talk to people every day and do something that fulfills me. And then go to Super Zoo and meet Karen Becker and Rodney Habib, and I'm like sweating. And, I've admired you and watched your stuff for so many years. So I'm like, I'm in such a cool spot right now that I feel like I'm actually making a bit of a difference in the world,
Oh,
which
for
not
sure.
a lot of us get to do.
Yeah. Well, and that reminded me because I intended to say it earlier on and I didn't, but I think I got down the like conspiracy rabbit hole in my head. But the idea of even feeding commercial foods to our pets, I think, talking about moms, that's the marketing that they did to women, especially around the like 50s and on, was very much, and this is documented, this isn't a conspiracy, but very much they wanted women in the workplace so that they're getting 2 taxable incomes
Yeah.
in every household. And so they create things to market to women to say, look, you can go out here and earn money so we can collect taxes from you. And then in the meantime, you don't have to put the time and energy and effort and love into feeding your kids and your pets and all the
Yeah.
things, right? Like that's part of it. And I think that's also part of like the awakening that a lot of people are having is that, there is no such thing as work-life balance. You do have to choose your hard, but for women especially, like more embracing the like feminine roles again and
Yeah.
realizing that you can do something in your life that fulfills you and that you're passionate about and still take care of your kids and take care of your pets and do those
Yeah.
things that like fill you up as a female.
And it's annoying to me that that's a controversial thought. Like if you say that on some platforms, you'll get beat up. And
I'm,
I'm like,
yeah,
if you
very
want to
curious as
be a
to how,
corporate girly and have a nanny, go for
yeah,
it. If that's what absolutely fills your cup, go for
yeah,
it. You know what I mean? But I'm like, my kid is so cool. I also could not spend all day with him.
right,
And I'm a person that has to work. I have to. If I wasn't working, like if I was in a position where maybe I didn't need an income, I would still volunteer full time. I'd be like, heck yeah,
right.
no, I can do the stuff that I don't have to worry about getting paid for. I used to work at the zoos and the raptor centers and stuff like that. And they're like, we can't afford to pay you. And I'm like, I can't afford to keep volunteering, you know, but it's the most fulfilling work. So
It is.
um, I am so deep on the crunchy mom side of the world. That's why I said I'm like, I'm lit on fire about everything that's happening right now with like the food babe, the Kellogg's push and everything. Like I'm out there like picking
Yeah,
like because it's so cool. I'm like, finally somebody's listening to us. Like I just want to be able to have better choices for my kid's pediatrician. And I could have an entire social media page just on my crunchy mom stuff, but it's, I can barely manage this one. But it's a wild world out there
it is.
for parents trying to do things cleaner.
I know. I would really love for it to just completely swap like places where we can just label a lemon, and then the non-organic lemons, like they need to be labeled as, I don't
Yeah.
know what, like we need to come up with a label for glyphosate lemons or something. I don't know. Like,
Or like now it's a peel. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't always have time. Sometimes my kid grabs an apple off the shelf and just starts eating it. And I'm like, the appeal.
right.
Like, it has heavy metals and a wax coating and things like
Yeah.
that. And it's like all consuming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a really, like I said, a really lucky place with my pets where I'm surrounded by really amazing company. So my choices are easy and I feel really comfortable. But every time that I go out to grocery shop,
Yeah.
and I just sort of flip it over. Have you ever tried to find pepperoni that doesn't have BHA or BHT? You can't.
No.
Like I found one time at like Meijer or something, and my son loves pepperoni. But I'm like,
Yeah.
my brother-in-law passed away from a childhood cancer. He, was in his 30s, but it was like a childhood lymphoma or sarcoma. And so I talked to them and she's like, was it what we fed him? I'm like, you
Yeah.
can't beat yourself up because that, first of all, is not your fault. And crappy kibble is not pet owners' faults. That's the industry's fault. But we're
Yeah.
hopefully going to be working on some of that false marketing and corruption, like I said. But
Yeah, in fact, that was like kind of the second half of what I wanted to talk to you about, but maybe we can schedule another
yeah,
with the, because you brought this up at Super Zoo, that like quick live that we did where like we were like trying to remember like what is called the like greenwashing in pet food. And I looked it up, and according to ChatGPT, it's called either health washing or clean labeling. Um,
mm,
so that would be cool to talk about. And then again, kind of that rabbit hole of understanding all of those really vague terms. And
yeah,
I recently published an episode with Isabel where we talked about the PER Act, because if that goes through, and it looks like before this election, it looked like it was going to go through. I don't know now, but um, it really is going to be so detrimental for pet food consumers.
remind
Um,
me when that one's about.
so the
I've heard it, and as soon as you start saying, it'll jog my memory.
Yeah, the PER Act is, they're basically, so the FDA is ending their understanding with AFCO, moving everything over to the Center for Veterinary Medicine. And if you read through the PER Act, it is so vague. There's a lot of holes in it. It's going to open up. So, pet foods that you and I feed, I don't think will change because they're small, transparent companies
They're
that
also
we,
voluntarily putting things on their labels that they don't have to.
right.
I was reprimanded for putting carbohydrates on my label, even though it's 0%. They're like, you can't have it on there. I'm like, but I want to.
Yeah.
They're
Like
like,
you
you have
want
to
to,
change it.
yeah.
I want it though.
So, but for big pet food, for the majority, I think we're probably still well around 90% of at least people in the US, who are feeding big pet, what I call big pet food, you know, the big kibble companies. And
Yeah.
um,
That is
it,
it is akin to big pharma.
it very
And
much
big
so.
food now is one that I don't think people are talking about enough. Big food is a
Mm-hmm.
thing.
It's going to give them so much more leeway. The one thing it does state that is very concerning is that basically, if an ingredient does or does not make it into that batch of food, oh well, you don't have to change the label. Like, people don't need to know. Like, it's okay. It may or may not be in there.
That lights me
Yeah.
up. Gosh, that's something I'm like every time something comes up, I'm like, just internalize it. I could do an entire like 2 hours on that because I've worked in the pet food industry and I've gone down so many of the rabbit holes, and it's absolutely, I'm like, I almost want to call it
Mm-hmm.
abuse because
It's certainly abuse of power. It's abuse of the trust that people have. Abuse of marketing claims. Like, it should not be allowed, and that's why I say, like, I'm actually a little concerned that if we don't have a reform in the pet food industry at the same time we're having reform in the
yeah,
human food industry, that
we
pet food
need a
is going to
pet
get
food
way worse.
RFK. Who's our pet food
I know.
RFK? Do we find
Susan
like,
Bixton.
yeah, just let her loose. Take her
Right.
down. Like,
Right.
yeah. Because it's every time I see, oh my God, I got a Snapchat filter. I think it was either Royal Canin or like whatever, one of those, like a pet food Snapchat filter. I'm like, get off of my
Yeah.
phone. And it was like a puppy playing around. And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
so deceptive.
It's very deceptive.
It's so deceptive. I would like pet food to be labeled like pharmaceutical bottles. Like
Yeah.
I want matter of
Well,
fact.
that brings
Well,
up a whole other topic because I've talked
not
about that before.
pharmaceutical commercials, the labels or whatever in the back. I want, yeah.
Well, yeah, that, and I've talked about this on my podcast before too. Like, unless you're getting your prescription from like your Costco pharmacy or a compounding pharmacy, when was the last time your veterinarian gave you the package insert for the prescription that they've just given your pet? Like,
You have to
yeah,
ask. And they're like,
why?
no, it's fine. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
know it's probably fine. Just would
Yeah.
like to know. I also am I'm a little opinionated about vaccines as well. Because no animal that is not completely healthy should receive a vaccine.
Mm-mm.
Period. I think this was yesterday, I saw that they're adding lepto to required vaccines.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That's insanity.
I'm really lucky, I mean, because my dogs are old and I won't be giving them any more vaccines. If they titered, they'd be completely, covered. But it's like I have to have an exception letter to get my dog groomed, and I
Yeah.
get it. And rabies is terrible, and it is making, it's kind of rearing its head again. I've seen videos recently, so I do believe in vaccination. I
Mm-hmm.
may, I'm a student of science. I do believe in evidence-based medicine. Um,
But that's exactly why you also believe in titer testing, right? So you can't.
the whole booster shot. Yeah, I could go on forever about this.
I know.
Like, but the whole
Please.
booster shots yearly thing
Yeah.
doesn't.
Mm-mm.
If you know anything about vaccines, it doesn't really make sense
Right.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
I could go on about it, but it's yeah, I just think that there's so much out there just preying on well-meaning pet owners,
Mm-hmm.
and it disgusts me. And that's why I'm like, regardless of, I could shut this company down, and I honestly might even go harder on the Instagram because the voices out there like yours, like Karen Becker, like the fact that we now have a moderately mainstream source
Yeah.
and it's not being called snake oil, and it's not being called woo woo, it's
Yeah.
factual. um it's amazing. So I'm like, finally there's some uptick, but yeah, I mean, I agree, we need like a Susan Thixton or somebody out there just knocking some people down. And yeah, luckily we have like Judy Morgan's doing a great job, and a lot of our industry is now starting to go to AFCO. It is kind of too much of a big beast to take on from a grassroots scale. So there has to be something. So it has to be something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta keep plugging away.
And then I wanted to talk about for a
Yeah.
second. Sorry, Borders and Bites. You said, how do you feel about open farm raw mixed kibble?
Oh.
I wanted to talk. Raw mixed kibble is one of those things that kind of, irks my pet food marketing brain, because it's usually a lot more money than just adding some raw food to your kibble. It is great marketing because now they're getting the people that hear that raw food is great. Open farm generally is a good food. It's one of those that I would feed. But the raw mixed kibbles, to me, like, just go get some great raw and add it in. To me, it's just kind of a marketing plug.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I even did an episode about it. What?
Scarlett's post up by the door. She heard your dog. She's like, "Come here, Scarlett. You want to come Sorry. She's like guard dog.
Says, what do you think of homemade cooked meat diet for cats with an added completer? I think it's better than kibble.
Oh, Scarlett.
Oh my goodness.
She's I call her like my junkyard dog. She's just big enough to scare the people that need to be scared, but she'll take your knees out. She's a big girl. She's like the perfect man's dog. But she's also an angel. She drools constantly.
Sweet, sweet baby.
Yeah, and 12 for a Rottweiler is crazy, given the fact that when I met him, he was feeding just whatever off-brand food from like a feed supply. It was like 65% carb. And I'm like, he's like, what do you think of this? I think it was our first date. He's like, this is the food that I get. Could you tell me what you think? I'm like, how deep do you want to
do you want to go?
I usually ask people, how long you got?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to get into that? I got a couple hours for you.
Right. All right. Well, yeah, let's do this again. Let's talk about what did I say? Clean labeling, maybe at some point.
Conspiracy theories and rabbit holes.
Oh my gosh. I could go on.
I
could go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And
I'm so deep on that side of things right now. And once you're in, you can't get out.
You can't.
I think it was like Candace Owens or something said, like, if you're not a conspiracy theorist by now, who even are you
doing? I know.
But it's not even conspiracy theories, because it's so, once you start to look at it, you're like, oh my God. Like what happened with the hemp industry, the whole history of how pot became illegal.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it being a drug.
No.
It has to do with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane when you really start to go down the rabbit holes. And I'm telling you, every time I watch a Joe Rogan episode, I find a new one to go down. So
I watch like 3 Joe Rogan episodes a day, but yeah, we'll have to do that another time. I'm like, I have to pick up my kid here, so I could go for another 6 hours. God knows. Yeah, that's why I think I'm almost bad. All of my Fangs and Fur podcast episodes that I've done are like 2 hours long. And he's like, all right, yeah, coming into this, let's try to stick around 45 minutes. And it's like an hour and a half long. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It usually has to be like the explicit thing after it because I dropped a swear word. But it's,
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, it was so nice to talk to you. And I hope people do check out Girls Gone Raw Pet Health. And if you want to talk to your indie pet store about carrying it, please do. Because they can order wholesale directly from her website, and no excuses. So talk to your indie pet store about carrying it. All right.
I think, I'm not going to fight that. Diane, I will have my cats on here next time, but they are chaos and they have to be touching me all the time. And it's extremely distracting. Most of them like to sleep like right here.
They're like,
so
yeah, take your breath away.
I'm a crazy cat lady for sure.
Same.
Well, it was, it was awesome talking to you. Sorry, I could chit chat forever.
I know, you too. Have a good rest of your day, and we will plan another one soon.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for hopping on, guys. It was good answering all your questions as well.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good rest of your week.
See ya.
Bye.